So I'm buzzing with new information about Manuka honey. And in this video, I want to talk about why you should include it in your diet. Hi, my name's Christine L. Conroy. Welcome to Happy Stuff and Fluff, a channel for women over 50 who are getting happy and growing younger. If this is your first time here, you are very welcome, and I must apologise for my infantile buzzing at the beginning of the show. I couldn't resist. Okay, so, I did a Facebook Live a few weeks ago and talked about this, and then I got emails asking me to talk about it a little bit more. And as I realised that I haven't talked about honey at all, I don't think, on Happy Stuff and Fluff, here I am to talk about it. But before I do talk about it, I have to say I am not a nutritionist, nor am I a doctor. In fact, I am not qualified in any way whatsoever in those areas. However, when I see things or read about things during my research that I think might help you, whatever the field, then I dig more into it and I do a little bit of research on something before I bring it to you on Happy Stuff and Fluff, for you to take the information and then make your own mind up or do further research should you want to do it. So, that said, I also have to say just a few more things. First of all, if you are diabetic, then please don't listen to me saying you should be taking honey in your diet. Obviously, check with your doctor first. If you were allergic to bees, I'm not sure actually whether taking honey would have a bad effect on you. I don't know. But just in case, I would say perhaps chat with your doctor first. And also, if you have a grandchild or if you take care of a child under the age of 1 year old, then it isn't wise to give them honey either. I think that's something to do with the bacteria in the honey that can cause babies that small problems. So those are the things. If you have diabetes, if you're allergic to bees, or don't give it to a child under the age of 1. Other than that, we're talking about Manuka honey. We're talking about Manuka honey. So what is it? I'm sure many of you have heard of Manuka honey and heard information about it. For those of you who don't know what it is, obviously it's a honey. It's a type of honey native to New Zealand. And it's produced by bees that pollinate the flower. I'm going to have a go at this. That pollinate the flower Leptospermum scoparium. Sound like I'm Harry Potter doing a spell. Anyway, it's more commonly known as the Manuka bush. So that's what I'll call it. The Manuka tree, Manuka flowers. And yes, it very possibly is the ultimate superfood, given that everything we know about it already and more stuff coming in, it could well be the ultimate superfood. And once again, like I say very often on positive psychology, modern day science is catching up with ancient wisdom, in as much as honey's been used for healing for thousands of years, especially for healing wounds. And that's why come to present day, it's included in an awful lot of skincare products. And we know that it benefits a lot of skin issues. We know that it helps rosacea, eczema, acne, dermatitis, dry skin. I haven't actually read anything on its anti-aging properties because I'm not talking about that today, but it's worth looking into that too because it's packed with antioxidants and humectants. Humectants are the things that help the skin to hold in water. So in that sense, it helps the skin. But as I say, we're not talking about skincare particularly today, but it gives you all of those benefits. Now, all honey has some healing properties, but Manuka is the king. Manuka is the king and is unique because in addition to containing hydrogen peroxide, which is what gives honey its wound healing properties, Manuka honey has hydrogen peroxide, but it also has these active compounds. Now, I'm not even going to pretend Oh, go on then, I will. Okay, so hydroxymethylfurfural, otherwise known as HMF, dihydroxyacetone, known as DHA, and methyl glyoxal, known as MGO. So I'm telling you that, you don't need to know those long names, obviously, but you may see HMF, DHA, and MGO on jars of honey if you're looking at the ingredients. But these are super potent active ingredients, which is what makes Manuka honey supercharged in terms of being antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral. Okay, so that's the difference of it. Let's just have a look at some benefits. So we know it helps with sore throats. You can gargle with it. The consistency of honey, of course, it's quite thick, especially Manuka honey is thicker than normal honey. And even when it's diluted with a little bit of warm water, which is what you would need to do if you were going to try gargling with it, it still coats the throat and so stays there a lot longer, which is what helps to ease the sore throat and cure the sore throat quicker. For that reason, its antibacterial properties, it helps with mouth hygiene, so it keeps your mouth germ-free. Now also, it helps with tooth decay, and it helps with gingivitis, which is a horrible disease of the gums if you've ever had that. So swilling Manuka honey with some warm water around your mouth for that is going to help. Now, on this note of throat and teeth and gums, many of you know that my daughter Charlotte suffered from cancer and had to have quite a few severe rounds of chemotherapy and consequently suffered from very bad inflammation of her throat and gums. Manuka honey really helped with that. I mean, it really helped with that. Now, I do believe that in the cancer hospitals, they are suggesting this to their patients who are struggling with this, but I also think there are a few people who can't tolerate it or it was too much. It depends. If you're caring for someone who's having chemotherapy and struggling with those issues, bring it up if you're not using it already. Bring it up the next time you visit your doctor or speak to them, because it certainly helped Charlotte. So we know that Manuka honey helps with gut health. It's a prebiotic, which is important for balancing the good bacteria in your stomach. Now, remember when we talked about vitamin D, this was one of the issues. If you have any digestive problems whatsoever, then you struggle to absorb vitamin D and to send it around the body to where it's needed. And so trying to balance the good bacteria in your stomach is a good thing to do, and Manuka honey will do that for you, help to do that for you. It's also a natural energy booster. It's so packed with nutrients, it can't help but be an energy booster. And for those of you, some of you may have heard me say this before, I swear by putting a tablespoon of Manuka honey, mix it in with my hair conditioner and put it on as a conditioner and then rinse it off. I don't even leave it on, rinse it off straight away, and it does wonders for bouncy, shiny, soft hair. Now, and I do that about once a week. I like to give my conditioner a real boost with a tablespoonful of that. Obviously, if your hair's shorter than mine, then you would use less. It is not sticky. When I've said this to people before, they say, is it not difficult? You don't have to wash it out. No, you don't. Not if you've added it to your conditioner. It rinses out just like your conditioner does. So those are just some of the benefits I wanted to tell you about. Now, it's more expensive than normal honey, table honey. I'm not sure how much table honey is, but this jar cost me about £25. We've had it for some time, I have to say, and I always have another one in because I never want to be without it. Now, the reason it's more expensive, some of the reasons given are because of its exclusivity, because we can only get it from New Zealand, but also, and so scarcity as well, but also the Manuka flower itself only actually opens for 12 days. So they've got this concentrated effort to harvest it, and it's often difficult to harvest. And lots of times there are helicopters involved and all kinds of things in order to harvest it. So those are some reasons given for why it is so much more expensive. So have a look around some of the supermarkets, because I do believe some supermarkets have better deals on it than others. However, I will say, watch out and make sure you're getting the bona fide correct product. It should say on it produce of New Zealand, and it will also have the UMF figure number. UMF stands for unique Manuka factor, and it'll have a figure on it something like that. Can you see there? This one's 15 plus. Now I do believe it starts at 10. I don't use 10. I would go from anything between 12 and you can go up to 25 plus, I think, 25 and more. But the recommended daily thing seems to be between 10 and 18. We use 15, and I think that's quite, for us anyway, quite strong enough. But the higher that number, the more power-packed it is, or the stronger it is. Now, the lack of understanding of how honey actually works in order to promote healing is what's kept it from mainstream acceptance from mainstream medicine. I mean, it's always been seen as kind of alternative, hasn't it? Or complementary. That is until now. That is until now. Why until now? Because of the growing crisis of resistance to antibiotics in the world. Because of this, more and more research is being done into the antibiotic qualities of honey, which is fantastic because the more research they do, obviously, the more we get to know about how it helps us. Now, in 2018, NICE, which is the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence in the UK, gave new guidelines to use honey as a first-line treatment for acute coughs, especially in children. First-line treatment for it because evidence shows that honey is effective in reducing the symptoms of acute coughs caused by upper respiratory tract infections. Light bulb went off for me when I read that. You know what I'm going to say next, but wait, isn't coronavirus an upper respiratory tract infection? Well, it's funny you should say that because clinical trials are underway to look at the efficacy of honey in treating patients with coronavirus. Oh, I'm saying that again, I'm so excited. Clinical trials are underway looking at the efficacy of honey in treating patients with coronavirus. Why do I get excited about these things, you might ask? Because they don't do us any harm and they could do us lots of good. My buzz about this is, and I would say to you, don't wait for the results of those clinical trials to come through before you introduce Manuka honey into your diet. Don't wait until then. Why? Because even if it doesn't help coronavirus patients, look at all the other benefits you're going to get from it, and because it's so power-packed with nutrients and everything it has in it, it's going to strengthen your immune system, which is going to help prevent you from getting the lurg that is COVID-19. And then if the reports come back that, yes, it does help, you continue to take it to ease your way through the disease if you get it. Are you going to take Manuka honey? Are you going to introduce it to your diet? Let me know down below. Let me know if you use it already. You can use it in all kinds of ways. You can eat it by the teaspoonful from the jar. I have to confess, after all I've said, I don't like honey. Well, I don't like normal table honey. It's too sweet for me and I don't like the aftertaste. Manuka honey is a deeper, richer, less sweet taste that I find manageable to take, but I don't take it just by the spoonful. I add it to food, to yogurts, to all kinds of other things. And yes, diluted with warm water, I will drink it with a little bit of lemon juice in it, which is good for your throat and for your immune system and for all of those other things. That's a good way to take it too. Okay, if we're going to be so fit and strong and healthy, and we're getting happy and growing younger. Okay, I'll leave it there and I'll see you next time. Till then, bye-bye.